I don't think we need a babyface Sammy Guevara. I personally liked a heel Sammy Guevara. I don't know if we're ready for a full-blown babyface Sammy Guevara.
Yeah. Any guy wearing panda gear, you got to be suspicious of them. Pandas seem soft, but you know what? Pandas are bears. Pandas are bears. And the minute you start trusting a panda, is the minute you're going to get devoured by that panda.
Can I just say, for those of you on Twitter who say, oh my God, they buried Lance Archer. Oh my God, he's buried. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, that's not how you bury somebody. It took 3 guys to defeat that man. Stop it. That man looked strong as hell in that match, all right? Relax.
I think a blood and guts main event inside a giant cage would be great.
That's Tony Khan! We gotta book this, man.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Weekly Finisher. My name is Beefy Supremey.
Beef Supremo.
And to my left is Ace Styles.
Ace mother-loving Styles. What's good?
What is good, Ace? Another good week of wrestling, another good week of AEW. And we start off talking about the one and only, the man, Sammy Guevara.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So Sammy Guevara has had enough with the Inner Circle. He confronted MJF behind the scenes. He told everyone to leave the room and said, what is going on? When he confronted him, MJF was found to be recording him. And Sammy did not take well for that. So
no, he did not.
Sammy hit him in the gut. And then that led to some turmoil. Next thing you know, we have MJF and Jericho taking on the Acclaim. Great match, but it is overshadowed by Sammy coming out and quitting the Inner Circle. Hey, what happened?
Let me tell you something. This has been a long time coming. This has been a long time coming. We knew ever since MJF was coming into the Inner Circle, we knew there could only be one baby boy with Chris Jericho. And that baby boy was MJF. And now we see the problems going on. Now we see it, and eventually it hit the nail on the head. Sammy Guevara saying, you know what? Hey, I'm out. I'm done.
You know what I like about this? I feel like Sammy called out Jericho a few weeks ago saying, you're a tag team slut. Yes. And I think it's true. I think Jericho always uses everyone as much as they can, and then he betrays them, or he gets rid of them. And MJF wasn't gonna, and Sammy Guevara was not gonna have it. Sammy Guevara knows that he had a good thing with Jericho, but he values himself. And he left. He even left the arena, man. Like, where do you see Sammy going from here?
So, and I'm just going to piggyback what you said. Let's go back, before I answer that question, let's go back to the Cody Rhodes promo when he faced Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship match, right? His famous promo of undesirable becoming undeniable, right? And he said it to Chris Jericho. He said, you've become a leech in this business where you are trying to ride the coattails of the youth, and that's exactly what he's doing. But here's my thing with Sammy Guevara. I don't think we need a babyface Sammy Guevara. I personally liked a heel Sammy Guevara. I don't know if we're ready for a full-blown babyface Sammy Guevara. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if he's a full-blown. Sammy is going to be Sammy, all right? And, you know, he got introduced to AEW crowds as a guy who comes out wearing panda gear. And any guy wearing panda gear, you got to be suspicious of them. Pandas seem soft, but you know what? Pandas are bears. Pandas are bears. And the minute you start trusting a panda, is the minute you're going to get devoured by that panda. And so, like, Sammy, I like the details that AEW does. He left through the entrance that the good guys come out of. Yeah, and I think that shows that, like, you know, his soul is it's coming back to him. He's leaving this bad group, and AEW does little details like that. I don't know if we're gonna get full blown babyface. Like I said, you can't trust the full panda, but I think compared to MJF and compared to Jericho and all the things they do, I think he'll be a good guy, man.
I don't know, because I look at Sammy Guevara and I say, you're right. You know, he may be a tweener. He might be an anti-hero or an in-between or something along the lines. But I think the bread in his pudding is in when he is a heel. I think when he's just more comfortable as a heel. For example, Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy is a beautiful babyface. He had a great match with
Jungle Boy can
FTR.
never do anything wrong, man.
He really can't. Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Let me tell you something. With his new entrance music and everything, I see him as being the future of this business. Sammy Guevara, though, I see him more of like a Scott Hall, maybe even a Kevin Nash, where you know.
Oh, you mean world leaders in wrestling?
I'm talking about
the people that shook up the business?
Yes, I'm talking about he needs to be more of a heelish type dude. I feel like he would do a great running with MJF but as both of them be, I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. We'll see. I don't know. I just don't think it should be a babyface Sammy Guevara.
No, that's fair. You're right. Someone like Jungle Boy, even if he were to do terrible things, I'd be like, poor Jungle Boy, like Pobrecito, right? Yeah, he's
exactly.
Trying. Yeah, no, I get it. I think it was bound to happen. I think it's really cool. I want to see where this goes. And you called it. I mean, I don't know if it was a successful coup, but MJF kind of destroyed the core of the Inner Circle.
Yeah, he did. And that's the beauty of MJF. MJF is forming and reforming the Inner Circle into his liking. Chris Jericho is losing his grip of this entire faction, and he's not understanding that this new young lion is stealing everything from under him.
He doesn't get it. And by the way, that leads me to the Young Bucks, where they were having a conversation about, their next challenge. And they decided, you know what? The Proud and Powerful are highly ranked. Why don't we take on them next week? I think they're playing mind games because they're going to end up facing against MJF and Jericho at Revolution. Yeah. But I feel like, I don't know if MJF actually took over the group, because someone like Santana and Ortiz, they don't seem down with what's going on, man. And I think this is all going to blow up at Revolution. I think it's going to start blowing up next week, because those two are the tag team. Like, they're the top tag team. And they're not going to want someone like MJF and Jericho stealing their spotlight.
And you're right. And you're so right. And that's why I think there's an ace in MJF's sleeve, because he got injured, right? His ribs were taped because of Sammy Guevara.
His rib took it.
I can see him going, you know what, guys? You know what? I can't compete, but you guys are the real tag team of the Inner Circle. So I'm giving you my blessing. Go out.
You see MJF doing that?
I'm telling you he's going to do that because he's a conniving rat. He knows what he's doing. He don't want the tag team title. He wants the main championship.
That's very true. He does not care for those titles.
He doesn't. He knows what he wants, and he knows he needs to have the Inner Circle on his side so he can beat the people. He can beat the Cody Rhodes. He can beat everybody. He needs a backing. He needs a posse.
That's interesting.
I'm telling you, fam. I'm telling you.
So, in terms of the parallels, we've had this whole time, we've had two big groups in AEW, the Elite and the Inner Circle. Those have been the dominant factions. Do you see any parallels with what happened to Hangman? Because Hangman, was kind of like the guy who was the guy they propped up. He got the first title shot against Jericho. He's the guy that was like their main eventer. And then as time went on, they put him in a tag team with Kenny Omega. And then he felt like they were dissing him the whole time. Do you see any parallels with Sammy Guevara?
No, and I'll tell you this why. The storyline taking place with the Cowboy, with Hangman, is such a beautifully told story, panning out within these years of since he come in. You have a guy who, from BTE, was the face. Everybody loved Hangman, right? And it almost got to a point where they put him in the front lines, ready to carry the company, and even the crowd was slowly starting to turn on him, almost like a Roman Reigns type of feel. And we felt that. We felt that at Revolution. Everybody loved Jericho, and they were cheering for Jericho. And he fell short, right? He fell short. And in this weird way, here they're rebuilding the Cowboy, the Hangman Page. And now this beautiful, long, drawn storyline of rebuilding this character until the prominent position that he needs to be in, I think it's beautiful. Look what he's doing with the Dark Order. Now look what he's doing with Matt Hardy, right? They're all trying to sign him because they know they see the potential that is the Cowboy Hangman Adam Page. They know.
But that's what I'm saying. They're definitely different journeys, but we're still going to the same destination. Ace, you end up with these top groups that you feel are your support group. In the end, you end up alone. And Sammy Guevara left the arena alone. Hangman is trying to not get accepted into the Dark Order, but there's some resentment there, and he's still alone. Matt Hardy is trying to get this alone soul that's out there. You still end up kind of in a damaged place. I definitely think it's parallels, man.
I think it goes back to the famous saying of, this business is hard. It's a hard business, right? It's a hard business, and it's being told in these storylines, right? Sammy Guevara was supposed to be the future. He was hand chosen by Chris Jericho, and yet he's falling short from the grace of the Inner Circle, and so is Hangman Adam Page.
You know what I think? I think the guys that end up leaving the group, it's because they're too smart. It's kind of like joining a gang, man. You join a gang because you need support from the group. But then you have the people that are like, I'm too good for this. Like, I don't need to follow this hierarchy. Hangman was getting drunk, Matt Hardy kept offering him drinks behind the scenes at the bar this week. And Matt Hardy offered him a drink and drink after drink, and then offered him a contract for his services where he was going to take like 30%. He is playing him just like all the other gangs are playing him. Sometimes it's not a gang, it's people using you. And I think we saw that. I don't know if everyone caught it. Hangman threw away that contract, and he had his own contract that he tricked Matt Hardy into signing. So I feel the same thing with Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara is at a point where like he could stick around a few more years, but him and Hangman are too good, man. They're the future of this company.
Yeah.
And I think that like Hangman, I think earlier in the show, he passed by the Dark Order, and they're like, hey, man, how's it going? like they're trying, like John Silver is really trying, but I think Hangman sees the dangers in that, and I think that's a good story.
It's a great story, and I think it goes back to the layer of the Cowboy, right? He knows that if he gets too attached to these people, one day along the line, it will end up hurting him. I mean, New Day's a prime example of this, right? They've been together so long, and look what happens now. Now they're split. The title reign of Kofi Kingston, as great as it was, it ended, right? These short, long victories, they end up ending, and the inevitable happens, and they split up.
But I think the difference, the New Day has proven that you could be friends in this business. Yes. Whereas, like, I think they're the exception because most people end up betraying you. You're telling me Jericho isn't going to betray Sammy if Sammy starts getting world title shots? Of course he is. And I think Hangman saw that with Kenny. Kenny Omega was ready to take opportunities at the will of harming his own friends. And I think these guys see that, man. I wish them the best. I like the details of Sammy going through the good tunnel where the good guys come out of. So I like that. And, going back to this Hangman thing, again, everyone tries to take advantage of these people. What was Matt Hardy trying to get him to sign?
I think it was a 30%, or I think it was the him trying to exclusively sign him, because I think Matt Hardy knows. Matt Hardy sees the landscape of AEW, and he sees, we talked about this on the show. We know that the landscape of AEW is factions upon faction. You have to be in a faction in order to protect yourself, because it is. Because if you look at AEW, it is white hot. Everybody is trying to become someone. Everybody's trying to grab that brass ring and make themselves well known. You see that within Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Family. We saw that with Big Shot Elite. We see that with FTR trying to get their own people. We see that in Dark Order and the Elite, and now the Bullet Club, and now everything else happening in this situation. You need to have a faction so you can have a stronghold in this war between trying to make it to the top.
So you think Matt Hardy is trying to sign everyone into like a group?
I think he is.
I think he is. But like I said, Hangman switched the contract though. So what the hell did everyone sign?
I don't know. We got to find out next week. Live on Dynamite.
I get Matt Hardy. You're right. Like, Matt Hardy is trying to do that, but what does Hangman's contract say? Don't bother me. Like, I don't.
But that's what I'm saying. Look what Matt Hardy did with Private Party, right? He knew, I'm grooming him. I'm gonna try to get them, and look what happened. He knew, I need to start creating a faction. Why? Because there is so much going on here, right? There's so many layers to this. So I have to make my faction. I have to make my big money Matt. I have to get my stuff going, and that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing.
I'm gonna assume that Hangman switched the contract to say, you know, Matt Hardy can't come within like 600 feet of me.
A restraining order?
A restraining order. I like that. And if, going on to our next topic, there were no restraining orders here. The main event this week, my goodness Ace, we finally got some New Japan Wrestling intertwined with AEW. We had Kenny Omega and Kenta teaming up against Jon Moxley and Lance Archer. My goodness.
My goodness, indeed. Let me just tell you something. That main event was historic, and I'll tell you why. The ending of that match, we had 3 different companies all being represented in that main event. We had Impact, we had AEW, we had New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's 3 of the biggest companies outside of WWE, all in the main event, all on the showcase of AEW's premier television network. That is huge. The multiverse, there is no more multiverse. The universe of wrestling is now together. That's it. The IWGP United States Champion Jon Moxley walking into AEW with the title that is from New Japan. Last full scene. And we saw it.
Last week, I said that match was potential match of the year. But then this week happened, and I think this was the potential match of the year.
Yeah.
Like, we forget for a while, sometimes you go through stages. AEW literally puts on match of the year quality matches on a weekly basis. Like, that was so good. Kenta jumped off the stage. Like it's insane what they're doing, man. And it was really cool. By the way, I've said this before. Sometimes you have to have a finisher that's pretty adaptive to your opponents. And I don't think the one-winged angel lends itself to that because Lance Archer is huge and it's hard to carry him on your shoulders. But I like what they did. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows helped carry him, and he delivered a one-winged angel, man. Like, that's epic.
Can I just say, for those of you on Twitter who are saying, oh my God, they buried Lance Archer. Oh my God, he's buried. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, that's not how you bury somebody. It took 3 guys to defeat that man. Stop it. Just stop it, okay? That man looked strong as hell in that match, all right? Relax. He's not buried. If anything, all those people in that match has got a huge, massive rub. They're huge stars in my eyes already.
And they, by the way, we haven't seen this in a while since the show started, like 2 years ago. I feel like we hadn't seen them fight behind the scenes. And that was really cool, man. They were throwing potatoes at each other. Like, that was awesome. I love that.
I'll tell you, man, I don't know. AEW, it's so you look at AEW's main event and you see why can't this is prime time wrestling. This is what wrestling is. This is beautiful, fun, entertainment, hardcore, craziness, amazing fun. And we are living in a new era. We are living in, we're honestly, I have not been this excited since the Attitude Era. This to me is on par and excitement of Attitude Era levels.
Don't forget the Ruthless Aggression Era was really cool.
It was really cool. It was really cool. I'm just saying, dare I say it, it's up there with Ruthless Aggression Era too. Just letting you know.
All right, fair. Quick question. Who do you think is going to fight for the title at Revolution?
Oh.
Like, we kind of don't have an opponent for him. Like, Kenta and Moxley. I have a prediction. We couldn't get Blood and Guts because of the pandemic, and I think now is the time. So we couldn't get the Elite, and we couldn't get the Inner Circle to fight. But right now, we have a bunch of guys that are fighting each other. There's no real alliances. I think a Blood and Guts main event inside a giant cage would be great.
Oh man, that's Tony Khan. You gotta book this, man. You gotta book this. I didn't even think about that. Can you imagine just the 2 sides of steel cage against the Bullet Club and against Jon Moxley, Lance Archer? Hell, put in the Young Bucks in that mug.
That's what I'm saying. Just make it happen. Everyone's splattered all over the place. We never got to see Blood and Guts. And That's what Jon Moxley is all about. Ever since Jon Moxley has entered the company, we have these type of matches. So let's make it happen. Let's get some blood and guts. I'm
down. TK, you better book this, man. Not playing with you.
I've done this before, but my favorite thing, I just want to be able to puke when I say blood and guts. Blah.
You just so that. Oh, by the way, if you have not checked TK's Twitter, he has. Look, this is a shameless plug. But look, if you have not checked TK's Twitter, on his location, he has the forbidden door. The man.
Oh, I saw that.
The man is so good. He's so good. Front of the show, TK. I love that man.
Yeah. I was like, what?
He's so good. He's so good, man. So good.
If you guys haven't checked out Vince McMahon's Twitter.
No, I don't know about that. Okay, let's not do that.
He wished happy birthday to CM Punk a few years ago.
No.
I like that. Great main event. It was fun. And then so this week was also the first match of the women's eliminator tournament, baby. Ooh, we got women in America and women in Japan. They're fighting in their respective countries, and it's all supposed to lead to a title shot for the women's title. And we started off this week with Thunder Rosa taking on Layla Hirsch. What you think, man?
Can I just say that was arguably, besides the main event, the match of the night.
It was good. It was like,
that was so minutes. Insane. And I've seen Layla Hirsch fight on AEW Dark. Okay, she's a great wrestler, an amazing talent. But that bell to bell, her with Thunder Rosa, my God, what athleticism, what just in-ring workhorse they did.
I think Layla Hirsch needed an opponent like Thunder Rosa, because I was thinking this when I was watching the match. Thunder Rosa is a big name that came from NWA, yes. But yes. You know, she comes from a lucha background, and I feel like we put that label on wrestlers that come from like a Hispanic background. Yeah, but she actually doesn't wrestle very lucha.
No, she does not.
I think that's interesting. Like, her matches tend to like do a combination of all these other wrestlers, and it worked great here because Layla Hirsch is small. She's small. So like you need to be able to know how to throw her to the ropes and do all these type of innovative moves. Yeah. And Thunder Rosa did that, man. That was a good match.
It was a great match, and that's what I'm saying. This eliminator tournament for the women has me so invested. When they did the bracketology down with what's his name, with Tony, I was just in awe of all the matchups that we're getting. We're getting Britt Baker versus Anna Jay. I am so excited for that match. You have no idea. Britt Baker, she is the face of the women's division. And you have Anna Jay, who I think is a breakout superstar of Dark Order, and she's out there always. I can't wait to see that match.
Sir, you are forgetting you can have your face of the company, but Riho's coming back.
Riho's coming back. I'm so happy. Yo, I love Riho. I know at the end people were souring on her because they want her to lose the championship because they were getting tired of her. Let me tell you something. Riho is the prodigy, okay? She was training since she
carried this company on her back when they first started.
Carried it. Okay, I'm so excited for her to come back, especially going against Serena Deb. If y'all don't know, y'all should. Y'all already know. Serena Deb, creme de la creme when it comes to wrestling.
Serena Deb, and like I feel like this was a great first. I don't know how this is gonna work. So are we supposed to get a Japanese match like from over there next week?
So this Monday, live on AEW's YouTube show, we are actually going to get the first 4 matches of the Japanese side, and one of the and we have the first match is going to be one of the most people who've talked about around the world. Maki Ito will be appearing, I believe, on Monday, and she's taking social media by storm. Just how much traction she has and followers because they want her to be in AEW. So
wait. So so all of these matches are going to stream online, separate from the show.
Yes, separate from the show because it's a whole different time zone. I do know that Hikaru Shida is actually over there to produce some of the matches, so she will be in attendance for those matches.
I'm so jealous, man. I wanted to go to Japan before the pandemic.
Me too. Hey, man, it is what it is. Look, vaccines are coming back. We should be good to go.
Phenomenal match. I'm really excited where this is going. And apparently, according to Ace, we're going to start getting these Japanese matches streamed on Monday. So I'm excited for that.
Yes.
So, Ace, it's time for the question of the week. we're going back. We focused a lot on Sammy Guevara, on Hangman, on the tag teams and factions of this era. So the question of the week is, what is your most heartbreaking tag team breakup of all time?
Oh, man, we had so many. We had Edge and Christian. We had the Dudley Boys. We had Rock and Sock Connection. We had so many. But you know what? One of the greatest love stories in this wrestling business has to be the Golden Lovers of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. If you have not seen the TSN documentary of the Golden Lovers, I definitely tell you to go check that out. But yes, them splitting up and everything else. I can't. And I'm telling you right now, Kota Ibushi's coming to AEW. I'm telling you right now.
No, I mean, the door's open. There's no forbidden door. I believe you. In my opinion, I feel like whenever there's a breakup, it needs to lead to someone actually going somewhere. I actually like the Golden Lovers breakup. You're right. But Kenny Omega was already becoming a star. Yeah. My biggest breakup and most heartbreaking breakup was the Rockers. Because the Rockers were like the quintessential tag team in the 80s, like coming up in the late 80s and then the 90s. And they were fun. They were like the Hardy Boys before the Hardy Boys. And they were the Young Bucks before the Young Bucks. Like they were fun. And Shawn Michaels did the ultimate breakup, throwing him through a window, which has become the trope of all breakups. And it led to Shawn Michaels becoming who he is. Like he got Sherry Martel to sing his theme song, and then he sang his own theme song. And then starting that year in '92, he went on to become Mr. WrestleMania. It was only 2 or 3 years after that he had the infamous ladder match at WrestleMania 10 against Razor Ramon. This breakup led to Shawn Michaels becoming who he is today and the Shawn Michaels that we know. And I love when a breakup leads to that. So I think it's cool because it shows that like the breakup was worth it. You know, when the Dudley Boys break up, like even when the Hardy Boys break up, like I feel like these guys still feel like a tag team, and Shawn Michaels didn't feel like a tag team anymore after that. Kenny Omega really did want to split from Ibushi, but sometimes I don't know if his heart still lies as a tag team.
That's why I go back to what you said. I think when a tag team splits up because they want to be a singles competitor is huge, but there's always, that's why I say the Golden Lovers is such a weird dynamic, because both of them are trying to change the wrestling business, and in their own ways they are. But arguably, though, one is changing it way more rapidly, while the other one is still not truly changing it. So we'll see how that plays out.
We'll see how that plays out. All right, everyone, that's a wrap. Make sure to comment. Make sure to follow us. Tell us what you thought of this week. Ace, let them know where they can follow us.
Y'all already know what it is. You can follow us live, and I mean LIVE, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All of our social media platforms are at The Weekly Replay. If you like podcasts and want to listen to this exact show and all of our other shows, like The Weekly Replay or The Weekly Finisher, we are on our podcast. That's right, a podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, iTunes, SoundCloud. You name it, whatever you get your podcast, we will be on that platform, or we already are on that platform. So be sure to tune us in on The Weekly Replay. But if you are watching this video, like my boy Beef Supreme already said, like, subscribe, make sure to follow us at Roger Talks Wrestling, where we upload all of our videos of The Weekly Finisher, players.
Player. Every week we'll be here. So that's it. Good week. We'll make sure to come back next week. Ace, I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week, Beef Supreme. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. Until next time.
Until next time.